Angel's Opinions, where we do the scariest thing on the internet, give an opinion. Today we're discussing Dead by Daylight, and why it sucks for its newer players. And specifically, 5 of them, because who doesn't love a good list? Number 1, the tutorial. The problem with the tutorial is it's so basic, and it's not overly helpful. It teaches you the most basic elements of the game, and not a lot of, anything else. You're lucky if you can go through your first 10 games and fully understand the game. Because I felt, personally, when I was first playing the game, the tutorial taught me not much. It taught you the gen, taught you about the trapper's traps, it taught you about the hooks. And that's about it. The killer's tutorial isn't better, but it's not as bad as the survivors. And if you are struggling at a tutorial standpoint, well, you're off to a bad start, because if you make a tutorial that's bad, and then the first 2 or 3 games go bad for the person, it's unlikely they're going to have a willingness to continue playing said games. Number 2, the differences in killers and maps. The problem with the maps in Dead by Daylight is they are so all over the place. Some are really weighed in killer's favour, some are really weighed in the survivor's favour, depending on the killer, and it's just not fun on certain maps against certain people. Especially against someone like a Michael on a small map, and that Michael is a camper, you're gonna get really, really, really frustrated very quickly, and it's just not fun. And then we get to the problem of the killers. Some killers have completely different ways of playing, and that's how it should be, but they don't explain it, really. And that's where a problem comes in. Because if you don't explain the differences, and explain how they work, suddenly you're versing the Huntress for the first time, and you get hit out of nowhere with an axe being thrown at you, and you didn't know she could do that. And you go against the Plague. You don't know you have to heal yourself with the vaccine. Or is that Nemesis? It's one of them. It's just can be incredibly frustrating for a new player having to learn all these different killers and maps and try and get the retention rate of remembering all of them. There are so many killers in that game. It's so hard to 100% lock in on how to beat them or avoid them. Number 3, pay for an advantage. Of course, most games have a paywall, and even though it's a game you buy, that's something I find completely frustrating. When you have to pay for a game and then you pay for the extras on top, it's frustrating, but I understand you want to lock your Michaels, your Freddys, your Chuckies all behind the paywall, because people will pay for that. Proof of, I paid for Nick Cage. I like to play as Nick Cage as Survivor. But I think you lock the better characters behind the paywall, which I think they have done, which is just not as fun. If you're playing the game, you have the basic killers, and out of all the basic killers in the game, the nurse, if you can learn how to do her ability properly, that's the way to go. That's your only real big character, but I think a lot of the better characters are locked, or you have to pay for them. And yeah, there's the in-game currency, but that's hard to grind and get up and get a lot of. So it's really going to be paying for the characters, which can cause a massive advantage when your better characters are paid ones. So you pay for an advantage. It doesn't mean you instantly win if you go and get a certain character, but it definitely gives you a massive advantage. Number 4, matchmaking. Yeah, the matchmaking in the game sucks. It really does. In one game you could get 4 guys who are completely cracked and can destroy you in 10 minutes, and then the next game you get 2 noobs who die in the first 10 minutes, you have 1 great player, and you got 1 player you don't see for the entire game, and then there's no real matching of levels. You know, you could be playing with someone who's played 5 hours, and then you could be playing against someone who's had 1,000 hours, and it's not that fun if you get a game like that. And that game, I find, happens so much. It's rare that you get a game where you have 4 competent survivors and the competent killer all together, unless you're playing with a predetermined friend group. Maybe this is a harsh one. I haven't heard many other people complain about matchmaking, but surely there's other people out there. I can't be the only one annoyed. Number 5. The tips aren't helpful. This one's pretty simple. You know, in every loading screen they'll give you a tip about the killer you're about to face. And I found it is not helpful. And most of the tips are not helpful. They don't explain anything with the tips. And it's just really frustrating to a newer player that you're getting a tip like, you know, with Michael, it's he can sneak, but you don't really explain the whole sneaking mechanic. You just use as little words as possible, but don't explain the mechanics that go with it. And you go to perks also. They don't explain perks well, in my opinion. I love looking into the perks, luckily, so it doesn't frustrate me too much, but to a new player who is looking at the abundance of perks, especially some who are designed to certain characters, especially with killers and some survivors, it can get so frustrating trying to learn the different bloody perks. In saying this though, I would suggest this game to new players. It's going to be a tough start, and it's going to be a tough game to play for a while. But once you get a few hours in and you start to learn the game, you'll learn the characters, I promise you'll have so much fun with this game. The game it's something special. When you get a great game, and I mean a truly great game, there's nothing quite like it. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's fast-paced, it's close. And I love that. Dead by Daylight is a game I would suggest to everyone to play at least 10 times. Just play 10 games, and if you don't like it, fine. But at least you've given it a real chance. Because, I promise you, your first 5 games will be the worst games of your life. Stay la vie. That's the way it goes. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like and a subscribe. Let me know what you think needs to be fixed about Dead by Daylight, and what would you fix about it, especially what sucks. Ta-ta.